This week, we bring you the news that the entire human genome has finally been sequenced. Now, you would be forgiven for thinking, wait a second, didn't we do that like 20-ish years ago? We did, to much fanfare. The Human Genome Project, which set out to map every last piece of the human genome, was declared essentially complete in 2003. Here, however, essentially complete means complete except for the parts we're content to ignore.
One of the greatest acts of exploration the world has ever seen took 13 years to complete, and yet it discovered no new lands, nor did it scour the depths of the oceans or search the vastness of space. This was an exploration that focused on the very essence of who we, as humans, are. It was one of the most important pieces of research that our species has ever undertaken. The project to map the human genome, our DNA, began in October 1990 and was completed in April 2003. And for the very first time, we were then able to look at the complete Homo sapien blueprint. So after all that sequencing and all of those years, what did we discover? Some of the most striking findings came with how similar we are to other animals and other things in our world. Remember how your teacher used to say that we're essentially all the same as a chimpanzee? Well, they were pretty spot on. Technically, we're 96% identical to our evolutionary cousins, which is quite amazing when you think about it. What's also amazing is that we share 70% of our DNA with a slug and 50% of our DNA with a banana. That's right, I suppose we're all half banana or half human, depending on how you look at it.
See, in actuality, there were some huge gaps in the data. Around 8% of the genome was missing. It includes a lot of ends and middle parts of chromosomes with a lot of repeated sequences. It is often thought of as junk DNA. This study also presents some new genes and other functional regions. In fact, many researchers believe it's heavily involved in organizing the genome, controlling which genes are expressed, which are silenced, and even helping with DNA replication and repair.
Over the last few decades, an entirely new method of introspection has emerged. We've become able to search our DNA for the hallmarks of human uniqueness at the genetic level. So you might have heard that our genes are around 99% identical to those of chimpanzees, our closest living non-human relatives. So what's in that remaining 1% that encodes humanity? As simple as the question sounds, answering it has proven to be a decades-long quest that is still far from over. And along the way, we've had to change how we think about genomes altogether. Because in the search for the genes that make us human, some of the most important answers were hiding not in the genes themselves, but in what was once considered genomic junk.